Hi, I'm Mandi Sara. I'm a principal in Russell Kennedy's Workplace Relations, Employment and Safety team based in Sydney. For the past 15 years, I've been helping organisations and businesses navigate our complex regulatory regime in this area throughout the whole life cycle of the employment relationship.
Hi, I'm Sarah Ibrahim and I'm a lawyer and I work closely with Mandi in Russell Kennedy's Workplace Relations, Employment and Safety team in Sydney. So Mandi and I have been reflecting on the different matters that have come across our desk in 2024. We noticed that there was a significant increase in three different areas. Firstly, applications made to the Fair Work Commission, particularly in the form of general protections and unfair dismissal claims. There's also been an increase in psychological injury claims. And finally, workplace complaints and investigations. Mandi, you mentioned mental health awareness, and from my understanding, it's a growing issue in the workplace. Even for an example, psychological injury workers' compensation claims have increased by 36.9%. And I guess there could be another driving factors for it, which include awareness or destigmatisation of mental health issues. But from your view, do you know anything else that could be driving this?
Certainly, the point that you mentioned, Sarah, about increased awareness by employees about their rights and also about these mental health issues. But the other factor that's playing into it is post-COVID environment. Everyone's working in a hybrid environment whereby there is a blurring of the lines between personal life and work life. And that's creating a circumstance whereby we are seeing mental health issues become a topic of conversation in the workplace. However, it's important to understand that the impact of mental health issues in the workplace is not just an increase in claims, but also there's a real and significant financial impact on businesses. For example, the median payout for a psychological injury claim is nearly 4 times higher than that of other work-related injuries. And the average time off work for a psychological injury claim is 34 weeks, as compared to only 8 weeks for physical injuries. And on average, psychological injury claims cost more than 3 times and leads to a significant length of time off work as compared to physical injuries. And it's being estimated that mental health issues in the workplace has cost Australian businesses $39 billion per year because of absentees, loss of productivity, and staff turnover.
Wow, Mandi, those statistics are really eye-opening. I guess my next question would be, are there any other contexts which you think psychological injury claims could be made?
Yes, definitely. For example, change management processes that I mentioned earlier, performance improvement, organisational restructures. Those are very typical scenarios, and it's important to understand that within those processes, that can give rise to a range of psychosocial hazards and risks that needs to be viewed collectively and not in isolation. So a common scenario that we come across is, for example, in an organisational restructure, you could have an employee who's been with the company for over 5 years. He's worked with a manager where little feedback is provided. A new manager is appointed as part of the change management process. This new manager has a very different managerial style to the predecessor. And this new manager might also be subject to KPIs such as creating a high-performance team culture, which means that this manager is giving this employee now constructive feedback. The employee, as part of the change management, their role and also duties may also be under review. So they may be asked to perform new and additional duties to what they're used to. Now, if the conversation with this employee about these changes and the restructure is not managed well, then you could have a situation when the employee feels increasingly anxious, fearful, and frustrated. And if these negative feelings continue for a long period of time, this creates a risk of psychosocial hazards in the workplace that may result in a psychological injury claim.
I guess, Mandi, going on from that, I can definitely see how that would be challenging, especially for new managers having to navigate that. What would be your, tips of advice in those circumstances?
I would suggest that the manager speak to HR. That would be the first step. Make sure that they're part of the conversation about the process in communicating with the employee. And, if there are red flags in the process or in the conversation they have initially with the employee, then that's where they should really reach out to us or the internal in-house counsel to see if there are any potential legal risks that they need to factor in and incorporate into the process.